Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome back to another premiere draft of Amonkhet Remastered. We are flashing way back with today's draft as we are these next couple weeks while I am on vacation. So this video was recorded quite a while ago, and that's why we're playing a format that hasn't been on Arena for quite a while. But without further ado, let's hop back into the sweet Egyptian and Bolas themed format. For our pack one, pick one, we have one of the strongest cards in Constructed, which is Thoughtseize, but I don't love it in draft. The games go pretty long. You can end up top decking, in which case this card is completely blank in draft and sealed, so not the hugest fan of Thoughtseize in Limited, but we've got a pretty great counter spell with Censor. It's a very efficient counter in the early game that you can cycle away if you draw it at the wrong time. But we also have another pretty premium uncommon that I'm a big fan of, and that's the If Near Deadlands. All by itself, it's going to be a black source that just replaces a swamp, and now one of your lands turns into a removal spell when you're flooding out, which is really good. But if you draft more deserts, which is one of the main mechanics in the format, as you can see on Desert of the Fervent and Desert of the Mindful, then you could turn multiple of your lands into late game removal spells, making this card pretty fantastic. For pick number two, we've got another rare that's pretty constructed oriented. It doesn't do a whole ton in draft. I guess you can kind of hose the green player if they try to play a ramp spell, but pretty narrow card there. We've got a very solid blue-black uncommon. Obviously, that's going a little bit off the path of the If Near Deadlands. We don't get to just take two purely black spells in a row, but Consign to Oblivion is a really strong card if you're playing both of these colors. For 2 mana, you can bounce a non-land permanent to its owner's hand, so it's a solid, efficient piece of bounce or tempo removal, whatever you want to call it. That comes with a 3-for-1 attached, right? Like you cast Consign and then you also make your opponent discard an extra 2 cards. So very nice value on that. And for pick 3, we've got a card that could lead to a pretty exciting, pretty spicy archetype for this draft, and that is the Vile Manifestation. So in this format, the cycling archetype was in blue-black. Most recently, we've seen it in blue-red in Ether Drift and blue-red-white in Ikoria, but this was a blue-black cycling format where you get cards like Vile Manifestation out of black that are just huge attackers if you've cycled a bunch of cards. And it's permanently so as well. You don't have to like cycle a bunch of cards while it's on board. If you top deck this late, it still gets all of that value. It just cares about what's in your graveyard. So, big fan of Vile Manifestation. That's a pretty exciting archetype for us here, as we've already started a little bit in the blue-black direction. Pick number 4. Pick number 4 is a pretty exceptional pack. I mean, Labyrinth Guardian's a great uncommon. 2 mana, 2/3. You can then recast from the grave with the Embalm ability, essentially creature flashback. You cast it and exile it from the grave to make a token copy of it. Very cool, very strong card. That is the strongest card in a vacuum out of this pack. That said, we have incredible synergy for Desert of the Glorified. It's a card we can cycle for Vile Manifestation. It's a card that we can use as a removal spell with If Near Deadlands, and it's a very solid card in general, just being a land that you cycle when you're flooding out. So I actually think Desert of the Glorified is the highest pick here, and there's other options too. I mean, there was a good blue counterspell with an Essence Scatter there, and there was also a solid black removal spell with the Final Death that exiles, which is relevant in this format with abilities like Embalm that we just saw. For pick number 5, again, we're going to take the synergy option here, which is Ruthless Sniper, although this is quite late for an Edifice of Authority if I wasn't pretty confident in the direction that I'm on right now. Edifice is a great card to take early because it's a solid card in any deck you play it in. It is primarily a defensive card at first and only stops your opponent from attacking, but once you've activated it 3 times, you are shutting off a creature from attacking or blocking or using its abilities every turn. So then you can use that to try to turn the corner and shut off your opponent's blockers, get in for damage. But I'll take the Ruthless Sniper, turns all of our cycling cards into combat tricks, removal spells, some combination between the two with -1/-1 counters off each cycle. Pick 6, big fan of the Horror of the Broken Lands as well as the Striped Riverwinder for this archetype. The Horror of the Broken Lands is obviously a little better for trying to get like a quick kill early, but I really like that the Riverwinder has Hexproof. I think Hexproof is great in the format. It makes this really, really hard to kill. I mean, I am so deep into black, though. The only blue card I have is Consign to Oblivion, so I'll still lean towards the Horror here, even though I do prefer the blue spell a little bit. Pick number 7, we have a Splendid Agony for solid early interaction, putting a couple -1/-1 counters wherever we want. across the board. The Seeker of Insight is pretty good for blue-black, though. Draw a card, discard a card every time you cast a non-creature spell. That can trigger all of your cards like Horror of the Broken Lands. It doesn't help with Vile Manifestation specifically, but it does work great with a lot of cards. The Sniper, the Horror, and other cards like that. So Seeker of Insight would also be pretty good, but I'm going to take the solid interaction here, considering we don't have any like hard removal yet. Pick number 8, Puncturing Blow for a great red removal spell that exiles, or Aven Initiate for a solid flyer. Flashbacks later for 7. We'll take the Aven Initiate here. I think those cards are pretty comparably good, and we're obviously much more likely to be blue than red between not only the Consign to Oblivion, but also all of the cards that care about cycling. There's more cycling in blue. Pick 9, we wheeled Censor, and it was one of the best cards in this pack, so this looks like a phenomenal draft pod to be the blue-black cycling deck. Pick number 10, I like Horror of the Broken Lands and Strategic Planning. Strategic Planning, pretty great in the format with all of the cards that care about what's in your graveyard, like Vile Manifestation, Embalm as an ability as well. But I'm still going to take just pure Cyclers really highly, because we do have a really, really powerful card that cares about specifically discarding cards with the Ruthless Sniper. So I want to have that count be really high. Here's another Splendid Agony or Final Reward for solid removal, so black looking really open. And Seeker of Insight, another card that would be pretty nice in the deck. I'm going to take the Final Reward here. Try to hedge between having some Splendid Agonies, some Final Rewards here, so a little bit of the early, smaller removal, and a little bit of the bigger late-game removal. Doom Dissenter is perfectly fine, but I'll take another Final Reward first. A lot of really late deserts here. We definitely don't mind Wasteland Scorpion in the cycling deck. Let's see what we got for pack 2, pick 1. Honestly, Supernatural Stamina, Slitherblade, Aerial Guide. None of these are cards I'm excited to play in the blue-black cycling deck, so I'll speculate on a Lord of Extinction as a potential splash. Unlikely to happen, but there are some dual lands in the format, so if we randomly get some dual that contains green, we can work towards that. They're at rare though, so it's unlikely. Actually, I think they're only ally colored duels. I don't think they're that we can open a blue-green or a black-green duel. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I'm just really not going to play anything else here. This Lord is quite unlikely though. Pack 2, pick 2. I mean, I guess if green is really open, I mean, we saw Desert of the Indomitable really late last pack. We could go like green-black and try to take a bunch of Deserts of the Indomitable to still help the cycling mechanic. That would be interesting. I don't know if that's the best idea ever. Probably don't take it this early over Scatter and Initiate that are still great cards in just blue right now. Great cards for what we're already doing. Take an Initiate here. Pick number 3, Desert of the Mindful, Countervailing Winds. Both feel spectacular. Two different cycling cards that are really great. I think we take Desert of the Mindful over Countervailing Winds when we have If Near Dead lands in the deck. Pick number 4. No cycling here. Oh, wait, nope. I'm blind. Vile Manifestation copy number 2 is actually sick. That makes the pack so much better than I thought. Oh my god, this draft is ridiculous. There's a Trial of Ambition here. This is a solid removal spell up front. 2 mana, you make your opponent sack a creature. But if you play any cartouches, which are the auras in this format, you get to pick it up and play it as a removal spell again. So the cartouches and the trials are very, very powerful. But there's also 2 incredible deserts for our deck. This is a wild, wild draft pod. Pick 6, now we can go ahead and take a Desert of the Glorified. Pick 7, a second Trial of Ambition. If we get any cartouches, we are playing with full power in this deck. This is going to be absurd. Goodbye, Lord of Extinction. I have so much power within blue and black alone. I am definitely not in the market for splashing around. Pick 8. I don't think I'm running Edifice of Authority in this deck over all of this hard removal, or even the consigned bounce kind of stuff. So I guess we take Heckma Sentinels, fill out our creature count, and this can use a lot of the cards in our deck as potential combat tricks. I'll take Desert over Aerial Guide, even though it's the off-colored Desert, because I'm just not interested in running an Aerial Guide in this deck. Pick 10. Pitiless Vizier also gets to use all our cycling cards as combat tricks. Just a 4 mana 4/2 indestructible with enough cycling going on. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 cycling right now. Still definitely want more. Oh, 7. Forgot to count sensor. We can get 10 plus. This deck is going to be great. So I just need to find like at least 3 cyclers in the last pack. Should be easy enough. Pick 13 Desert of the Glorified. This is so lucky here. Like, the deserts are great, even when your deck doesn't care about cycling or doesn't care about deserts. Wow, we opened a Drake Haven. The absurd cycling build around bomb. It turns all of your cycling spells into like a 3 mana 2/2 flyer that draws you a card that you can play at instant speed. And your more efficient cycling card is the one that cycle for a single mana. That's a 2 mana 2/2 flash flyer that draws a card when it enters the battlefield. Ridiculous spell here. We take Drake Haven here and take just everything we see with cycling. So here's a Striped Riverwinder or a Horror of the Broken Lands. There is a Scorpion God too, which is absurdly powerful. That's so much more powerful than Lord of Extinction and is actually definitely worth a splash if you can get any fixing at all. There's not a lot of fixing in this format, and I think our deck is already tremendously powerful without mudding up the mana base. And I'd have to take it over a good cycler. Scorpion God is completely insane. A little sad that we're not going to be able to play with him today, but I think I would rather just play a more consistent full-on cycling deck here. Here's Wasteland Scorpion. Ibnu Rivulet's a fun option too. That is pretty powerful, but I don't think I want a single pick at this point to be on a card that doesn't cycle if there's a card with cycling in the pack. So I'm going to take Wasteland Scorpion. Like, between massive win conditions like Drake Haven, Vile Manifestations here, we just want the vast majority of spells in this deck to have cycling. Alright, Striped Riverwinder is the on-color cycler here, and I'm not unhappy about that at all. Solid card up front, even when you don't care about the cycling synergy. Also pretty cool artwork, kind of the pretty bold, pretty thick borders there, like you saw a lot in original Ravnica. Pick number 5, Ruthless Sniper, copy 2. Over our first cartouche with 2 Trials of Ambition, though. I mean, definitely over a 2 mana cycler, I think we can take this Ruthless Sniper. I feel that the ability to pick up Trials is insanely powerful. Maybe even strong enough to pass a Sniper for. I'm going to take Cartouche Knowledge here. Pretty difficult choice, though. 2 incredibly powerful options for this deck. Pick number 6. Here's another Horror of the Broken Lands. Come on in. Start cutting some of the random cards that don't really care about cycling. The Initiates here. And then Heckma Sentinels, like, technically cares, but I don't care about Heckma Sentinels. I'm not going to run all this removal. This is a pretty absurd amount. I'd probably just cut some of the more expensive removal, like the final rewards. Use the Splendid Agony on the small stuff so that Trial can make them sack the one big thing. Makes decent sense. Could also consign something big. Shimmer Scale Drake, come on in. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of the Heckma Sentinels and the Vizier, I think. And I'm going to want to cycle all of these 5 and 6 drops very early every time so that we draw Vile Manifestations more often. So we definitely cut some lands here because we have to consider that these are basically just always thinning our deck a card. We have to pay mana for it, so I can't cut down to exactly what I would want. But the theory that you can use is, like, if you're always going to cycle these cards, right? Then you could pretend that you're basically playing a deck that has that many less cards, right? Instead of a 40 card deck, if my 40 card deck has 10 cards in it that I'm exclusively using to discard them and draw the next card, we can just pretend we never drew those in the first place. And you play the land count that you would play in a 30 card deck, which is certainly less than 17. So we can think about that a little bit. Jeez, the screen was open. Yeah, we could have been a pretty sick green-black cycling deck too, with all these deserts, the Cartouche Strength to go with the trial. Kind of wild. But I'm very happy with the deck we've ended up with. So yeah, I think I'm cutting down to 15 lands maximum. And I have to cut 3 cards, so I wouldn't mind 14 lands. I mean, I'll double check the counts here, but I think that should work out fine. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, no, just 3 cuts. So 14 lands total. So we have all this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards we can cycle for a single mana. Let's put our mana curve separate from our cycling curve. And then we have 1, 2, 3. And another 1 mana cycler there. And another 1 mana cycler. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards that are just going to be cycled for 1 much more often than we cast them. So yeah, and then 3 cards we can cycle for 2. It's almost like that kind of deck I was talking about where we play the land count we would play in a 30 card deck. Yeah, we'll go 14 lands on this one. I think that's 100% fair for this deck, which I am pretty excited about. It's a fun, spicy deck, very different from some of the other archetypes. Let's double check the mana base here, the 2 colors. 17 black spells and 10 blue. We have 7 black sources and 7 blue sources. I like going pretty even on the colors, but black is the more important color. Black gives us access to all of our cheap creatures that we want to cast, as well as all of our removal spells. So everything that we have to cast early in the game is a black spell. All of the blue spells can wait till later. So I'm going to go up a black source and down a blue source here. I'm going to go for 8 black sources, 6 blue, but we will call it a deck here. Very excited to see how it does. So without further ado, let's hop right into the gameplay. Here we are on the draw for game 1. Pretty solid opening hand here. It's definitely slow with all the tap lands, but I enjoyed it quite a lot. If our opponent's on an aggressive deck, we've got a really good plan here, because we have Trial of Ambition and Splendid Agony to deal with the cheap creatures, and then a Death-Touching Scorpion for something a little scarier later. And we have an early threat if they are a slower deck here. Hoping they don't have the cheap removal for Manifestation, but there are a couple cards they could have. Essence Scatter to counter it, and there's a Desert kind of removal spell out of blue. Taps it and keeps it tapped. But that only really works if they have a Desert. Okay, let's see. So let's go Trial of Ambition to get the Eternal out of the way here, because we definitely don't want to be getting hit by that. And I think we also just go ahead and cycle a Censor here to start getting Manifestation damage in. I mean, Censor is a perfectly reasonable play soon enough. But like, I'm playing Scorpion or Agony next turn. It'll be a while before I'm holding up a Censor. I think I'm just going to cycle it here. We have 7 cards in this deck that are those 1 mana cycling gigantic creatures. So if I just cycle the Censor towards those and cast one of those instead, it's probably going to be better this game. Splendid Agony is incredible against a 1 toughness card like that, although we would prefer to wait until they play another creature, obviously. So now they could maybe exert that to shoot Vile Manifestation as well as cast a 3 damage removal spell, like Trial of Zeal, Open Fire. That's an uncommon removal spell out of red and a common removal spell out of red, so it's possible I should still just Splendid Agony it immediately. Just in the interest of really making sure that Vile Manifestation sticks around, but I don't think I'm going to do that here. If they got the removal, they got the removal. We can cycle our way towards more threats and hit pretty hard this turn. instead. There we go. There's that 5-drop 4/4, and we can just hard cast it this game since we drew it late instead of early. God, cycling is such a sick mechanic for these kind of decks that benefit from it. Like, even a deck that doesn't care about when you're cycling, it's a strong mechanic. Because it's like all of our cards are getting more powerful as we're cycling, or a lot of our cards are getting more powerful as we're cycling, and we just have such flexibility where it's like I'm cycling lands away to spells, I'm cycling spells away to lands. I'm just cycling into whatever I need for the game. So Sniper is insane against Paincaster, so I'm going to drop that down first here and cycle the Scorpion to kill Paincaster without even spending a card. Because obviously when we cycle away the Scorpion, we draw a card off of it. I don't remember any 1-mana castable spells of either color. So I'm not sure. I'm just going to let autopay pick between blue or black. I guess I've got the Horror of the Broken Lands I can cycle for one. And since I drew a second copy, yeah, I'll go ahead and cycle that here. Unless they kill this, then yeah, I'll probably keep it at that point. Play a couple more 4/4s, and I also get to hold on to it to maybe use Sniper again. Still got more removal if they play anything themselves, and they did. Gilded Ceradon it is. Double final reward here. Probably just clear that out then. Seems fine. If we do end up drawing like all of our basics and flooding, the If Near Deadlands puts in so much work here. That's 2 -2/-2 removal spells in the late game. This deck is just so sweet. I cannot stop just being so excited about this deck. Kenra Scrapper, hello there. Okay, I was gonna say, if they can't kill the Ruthless Sniper, it's gonna go pretty hard here with Splendid Agony. Okay. Cannot cast an Agony and a Horror. They're down to 1 card in their hand, though. Let's get our own threat here. We take like 4 damage maximum if they choose to exert the Scrapper. We can win this race on board. Because we hit for 4 every turn at minimum. They hit for 4 every other turn with Scrapper. Ooh, double struggle to survive. That is some premium removal over there, jeez. Alright, just hit for 2, that's fair enough. Any draw on the deck is good, because even if I flood out a little and draw the land there, that means I'm casting Horror and Splendid Agonying the Scrapper to basically shut it off. It can still exert to hit us for 2 damage every other turn, which stacks into about 1 damage per turn. Makes it relatively useless. Again, like, yeah, technically it's still going to be hitting me a tiny, tiny bit, but it's useless enough I don't feel the need to crack If Near Deadlands here. I mean, I wouldn't be sacking the Deadlands. I'd be sacking the Desert of the Glorified, but that would get me down to only 1 desert left to throw at something. Great Jaw's great. Use some big old 4/4s at this point. If they just chump here, I don't think I'm casting the second Horror. I don't think they would chump there unless they had Hour of Devastation in hand. There is 1 rare board wipe in red in this format. That is the only board wipe they could have. It's high enough rarity, I'm not going to play around it there unless they make a really suspicious play, as if they have it. And they didn't make that suspicious play. They put another creature onto the board, so we're jamming it again. If one of these gets through, I can cycle Riverwinder to try to lethal, so now they kind of have to chump, because they know they're dead to a single cycler. And they do go chump chump. Actually, I could have attempted If Near Deadlands lethal there. I'm gonna play it safe here in case they like top deck an Hour of Devastation, because there's not much else that can save them. If they play a creature out of their hand, I can scatter it. If it's a small enough creature, I can Deadlands it. And that is going to be game for us. We start things off 1-0, heading into game number 2. Here we are on the play for game number 2. They don't have removal for Ruthless Sniper. That is going to just eviscerate their board throughout this game. If they do have removal for it, we've got an awkward hand, but that's why the cycling mechanic is so powerful. I can just cycle all this nonsense and find stuff a little more castable right now. Naga Vitalist. Alright, let's go, Sniper. I gotta cycle this anyway towards the land, so might as well get a -1/-1 on the Vitalist, to where if I do top deck the land, we get to kill that Vitalist off of any cycle next turn. Unfortunately, we did not, so we don't get to get a -1/-1 counter off of the cycle this turn. Actually could have a huge impact on the game. I think I hold up Scatter then and cycle in the end step. I do miss my land drop this turn guaranteed, but I'm really unlikely to draw like 3 lands in a row where it matters if I skip one of the land drops. Oh, come on. A creature spell that's technically not a creature spell, so I can't scatter it. That's obviously frustrating. At least they didn't get any value out of the Naga Vitalist, so I don't have to feel so bad that I couldn't kill that here, because they didn't even do anything with it this turn anyway. We did not hit land for turn regardless. That is technically land for turn, but it is not going to help me use the Sniper. Play around a blue counterspell here. No, I've got my Essence Scatter. I need to hold that up and Consign if they don't cast something. Consign's a good draw here. Being able to kill the 4/2 permanently is nice, but Trial of Strength is tremendously powerful. Very similar to Trial of Ambition, where if they play any cartouches, we're going to have a terrible, terrible time. So they are blue, green, and red. Naga Vitalist adds a green here, so they have gotten the Vitalist value. Cartouche of Strength. Pretty dang happy to have Consign here, because that is gross. If they don't have Cartouche plus counter. Yeah, fully counter that Cartouche of Strength. Never hits the battlefield. Never picks up their Trial of Strength. Feels good. Splendid Agony. Kill the Vitalist and get a counter on the Hope Tender. I think I would like to do that. Because they're a green deck here, so they could definitely have something big enough that the Vitalist mana helps a lot. And they also have Hope Tender mana, so I mean it fixes mana no matter what. If they exert it, it also adds 1 mana, because they have to spend a mana to untap the land. So if they don't exert it, they're not up a mana. If they do exert it, they are up only 1 mana total. So it's kind of like a second Naga Vitalist if it's exerted. So they're on 5 mana right now, no matter what. 6 if they exert Tender. If I Agony, instead they're at 4 or 5 if they exert Tender. They didn't play a land next turn, or last turn either, I don't think. Actually, maybe they did. They went Trial Strength on 3, and then Cartouche plus Tender. Yeah, they did. They played land every turn, so they might have another land in hand. I mean, if they cast something big, I do scatter it. I don't know. I don't know. Too many options, too controlling right now. I guess the added value in holding up the Scatter and then maybe just going like Cycle Kill Vitalist instead of playing Agony is that makes me more likely to draw land 5. Drawing land 5 at this point, we get to Oblivion and make them discard 2 cards if I'm not under that much pressure. Let's go. Holding up Scatter, getting the Locust God. I'm clearly a genius. I never doubted the play, not for a second. I'm going to cycle towards land 5 to try to Oblivion them while I'm not under any pressure. Okay, no land 5, but Trials are good. I'm gonna cycle towards it again. I don't have a counter to hold up this turn, so. I'm kind of dumb. I should have held up black there in case I hit an untapped island, so I could trial the Hope Tender if I want. Oasis Ritualist, sure, just more mana. Oh, okay. That's technically not the greatest, but it will be once the trials are on board. That'll be insane. Trial. Cartouche trial when they play a creature next turn. When I say technically not the greatest, I just mean, like, this is another turn where I'm under no pressure, so it's another, like, perfect turn to Oblivion them. The longer it takes to get to Oblivion, the more likely they are to have just cast everything in their hand anyway, and then Oblivion doesn't do anything. Yeah. It's a little too late, sadly. Because now they only have 2 cards in hand. They're super likely to be able to cast those cards before I cast Oblivion at this point. But we're still in such a tremendous position, we'll be fine. Cartouching double Trial of Ambition is brutal. Open fire the sniper, sure. Land. Alright, well, we Oblivion 1 card while we're under no pressure. We have found land 5. Final card is Winds of Rebuke. I'm surprised they didn't cast. Well, never mind. I'm not surprised. All it would have done was mill us each 2, and it wouldn't really matter there. Cycle this. I could actually target myself with that for the manifestation. That'd be kind of crazy. It might be a little greedy not to just play this desert, because I do have a lot of mana value worth of stuff to do, but with a Drake Haven coming up, feels like an excellent cycle. Get my extra damage out of it, get my Drake. This deck is bonkers busted. They cycle a Sandworm. And they scoop them up. That's 2-0 heading into game 3. Here we are on the play for game number 3. Need a black source pretty badly. I have quite a few draw steps to hit it with double cycler here. Right, so I'll have 1, 2... I'll have 3 draws by the start of turn 2. I'm gonna go for it. Like, even if I had no action in hand, technically just sitting here and cycling a bunch of nonsense works its way towards a very strong Vile Manifestation top deck later. When we have 2 copies of that in the deck, we can sort of rely on that a little bit as our endgame play. It could be pretty unlikely to not be able to draw at least 1 Vile Manifestation throughout the game after cycling a bunch. Alright, goodbye, Firebrand Archer. Hello, Massive Value Ruthless Sniper. I love you, you're my best friend. Sweet. 1 and a blue. Destroy target creature, draw a card. You absolutely love to see it. Do not kill. Thank you. Our opponent might have some more 1-toughness stuff in their hand, and they're just like, no. Alright, I don't have any counter spells in my hand, so let's get a Horror Essence Scattered or something here. Holding up mana is not going to do anything to help me protect my Ruthless Sniper. Alright, I'm guessing there's just a million counter spells over there, probably. Which is not the greatest. Luckily for me, while I may be a little flooded here, drawing basically exclusively basics here means that almost all the lands left in our deck are cycling lands. I mean, not almost all of them, but a solid percentage. Okay, no, I lied. Almost all of them. There are 2 basics left, 4 cycling lands, and 1 if near dead lands. Okay, that's really good value. Deem worthy, kill sniper, draw a card. They did the reverse thing. I got to kill archer, draw a card. No, yeah, they probably had a couple of those archers just sitting there waiting for their time to survive. I like that draw. Big hexproof threat. Deal with that, blue-red. Target it with burn, I dare you. Shimmer Scaled Wake. Sun-Scorched Desert, and we're down to 19. Now there is 1 basic land left in the entire deck. This would be the boldest double block in the universe, but might as well see if we can get lucky on that. Might have been better to cast Horror of the Broken Lands, because with those 2 combined, we are winning the race on board. There are some ridiculous mythics in the format, like the Locust God that I super scoop to. Hello there. I don't know how big you are, but probably big enough. Bold double block, but I love the trade. Sick trade is sick, and play into the scatter with the Horror first, and then the Vial. Okay. It's like a 6/4? Yeah, 2 mana 6/4. Pretty good rate. Reasonable. Reasonable spell. Glorybringer. Speaking of reasonable spells, the best bomb in the whole format, one of the best bombs in draft history. If there was anything that would give our opponent a chance here, it would be a Glorybringer. One of incredibly few misses in the deck here. We have our 1 basic, and then if near Deadlands is also kind of a miss here. Because I don't want to sack it as my only desert. I mean, the Glorybringer's still tapped already anyway. I should still play it so that if I top deck another desert, I can play plus sack. But I feel if I top deck another desert, I'm still just going to cycle here to play around Glorybringer, because we do get an additional toughness on Horror of the Broken Lands every time we cycle. So if they try to Glorybringer the Horror, I can respond by cycling something to counteract that. Alright, some critters, some critters. The literal only miss in the whole deck. No shot. Okay. Yeah, that's our only non-cycling land left in the deck. So that's our only card that isn't a cycler or a relevant spell. What can you do? Just get to lose to a Glorybringer now. I can full control mode so that I can pretend to have a cycler here, so they really have to consider whether or not they want to exert this Glorybringer. I don't know if I'm supposed to activate Deadlands here. Burning Fist Minotaur threatens to be a 4-power first striker. If you draw any extra cards, it's going to be a problem. I think I sack this here. And we have to pray. Yeah, we have to pray that they think I have a cycler in hand. It's going to be a little obvious with full control that I probably don't. That would have been such a massive misplay if we had a cycler. I'm so sad right now. I just don't have gas. So it works really well for them. Oh, yeah. I'm tilted. I'm tilted. I think we could win this match best of 3, but we got by Glorybringer hard here. And we still could have beaten Glorybringer with decent draws from that point on. Just missed hard. Far too late. Where were you when Glorybringer arrived? I was at home, eating Dorito. I'm surprised they took that hit, actually. When, like, I guess, yeah, now they get to Glorybringer Exert Scorpion. Maybe they get lethal for doing that off of the Desert Cycle. Yeah, that's probably lethal. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, fair enough. Okay. Yeah, they could have hit for 3 more off of Kenra and 2 more off of Exerting Scrapper. They could have lethaled us. I mean, we've got two cards in hand, though, so they wanted to play it pretty safe, but we had no creatures on board. I guess, like, if I had some way to protect my Scorpion from the Glorybringer Exert. Yeah. It's just weird to go from, like, just taking the 2 instead of trading Scrapper off to, like, the full opposite direction of now I'm going to play extra safe. Does not matter, though. We still find nothing. And we are 2-1, heading into game 4. GG. Strong. Deck is strong. All right, here we are on the draw for game number 4. We are 2-1 right now. I think this deck has a really solid shot. It has played incredibly well every game, but we can't beat every card. We did get Glorybringer pretty hard last game, so see how this goes this time around. I've got tons of counters, and if I don't cast them, we just cycle probably the Drake here. Give to the more expensive cycler. Maybe Desert of the Mindful. I already have 4 lands here. Oops, I clicked too fast. That's on me. I was really expecting a play. Main phase 2. Yeah, that's definitely on me. So, I think I would rather cycle Horror of the Broken Lands than Censor here. If I do, like, scatter something and then cycle. Okay, they're passing turn again, so now I will cycle... yeah, let's cycle the Desert. Find a Ruthless Sniper. Oh boy, okay. So they're stuck on 2 mana. They either are really playing around counterspells or just don't have another 2 mana play. I think it's more likely the latter. So let's just get tremendous value off this Sniper immediately. They might resolve a 3-drop for us doing this, like top deck a land and play their 3-drop creature. But if that's the case, I just trial it anyway, and we'll be fine. Especially with a cartouche in the hand now to bring the trial right back to hand. Ronus's Monument. Okay, it's not a creature, but if they don't get any creatures on board, it doesn't do anything. So it's still quite fine, quite safe. This hand is absurd. I got Trial Cartouche, I got double counterspell, double removal spell, a big finisher if we hit one more land. Watchful Naga draws them a card every time it exerts. Yeah, I'll scatter that. Could also try to double cycle kill it, but I only have one cycler that I actually want to cycle in my hand. Okay, now I have two. Gravedigger. Solid little 2-for-1. Yeah, we censor that. Good Hunter's effect on that thing. There's land 5 while they're tapped out, and I'm not holding up a counterspell. Here's Horror of the Broken Lands. Swing for 1 and pass. Cast something huge, like a Lord of Extinction or something. Close enough. Boop. I don't need to cartouche immediately, so I'm not going to. Save that for a turn that I know I need to trial somebody. I can go Agony Cycle on that Ritualist. I don't mind that. Okay, I can go Agony 1 cycle on that, even better. Cycle the Desert. Technically, I should have done this during combat, I'm just being lazy. Because there's a chance they would make some kind of bad block. I guess it's not really possible, right? I'm already a 4-4 against a 3-4, so they weren't going to block there. Well, they're down to 6. Still got 3 cyclers to buff the Horror or to put -1/-1 counters on the board, or both. Sure, a bunch of little stuff on the ground. If they tap out here, then we know we can lethal them in the sky with Cartouche of Knowledge. They only have 2 mana up, right? Just double black, so unless they have one of like the uncommon or rare removal spells, I don't think they can kill Horror of the Broken Lands at instant speed at common here, so we'll just go for it. Cartouche it up. Get in the sky here. I mean, I technically wouldn't even need to get in the sky, I don't think. If they sacked one of the little things to a trial, I wouldn't need to. So then I could like cycle and kill the other one. But it looks like they don't have any instance there, so we slam for 7 and find lethal. We are 3-1 heading into game number 5. Alright, here we are for game 5 on the draw. Bunch of cyclers for the early game. The most important part, though, the Splendid Agony to keep us alive against early aggressive threats. That's a definite keeper right there. Hope I don't regret playing this desert, but I think I should play the tap land turn 1. We're a 14 land deck here. I don't think I should rely on like cycling into a different third land here. I'm going to keep one of the 5 drops. Let's cycle 1 Riverwinder, 1 Horror. Instead of going Swamp, cycle Horror. Okay, Okay, there's a 3-2. I can clear that out with Splendid Agony. Slow down the game a bit, which I probably want to against the white deck. That's a pretty aggressive color in this format. And now I have double Agony, so that's super safe. Actually, I can Agony this and then still have some Ruthless Sniper shenanigans later, maybe instead. Now that we have a Ruthless Sniper, we're pretty unlikely to want to play both of these. So they cycle a Wandering Death, they're looking for their black source, and they do find it. So black-white zombies deck. Kind of a black-white mummies deck in this format, but they're technically creature-type zombies, so that they work with all the other zombie cards if you want to build a deck around them. But I guess mummies kind of are just zombies. Just embalmed zombies. Tapped out here. I'm not 100% sure what they're waiting on. Something probably came up IRL, it seems like. Because they're not hovering over anything. I had a game off recording where I accidentally spilled my water all over my keyboard. So I'm like sitting there cleaning it up between turns and like running to get a towel and stuff. I used like all my ropes all the time. I went down to the wire. I did manage to win the game, but I felt bad because it was so slow. Oh, they're back just in time to drop Binding Mummy there. I am 1 mana off from having Ruthless Sniper fully kill Binding Mummy by itself. Because it costs 4 mana to do that, and I need 1 to play the Sniper in the first place. I think against black-white, they should have plenty of small enough targets for me to Sniper away that I can still just go for an Agony here. And then next turn I can double snipe something else potentially. Yeah, I'm going to do that. And I'm not going to run out the Sniper because black-white's also a removal heavy color pair, so I'd really like to get a kill with Sniper before I give them a chance to kill it. Okay, well now we're going to Final Reward instead. Just play the defensive controlling role this game. Might actually cast Riverwinder at this point. Another Horror of the Broken Lands. Come on now. That's my card. Well, almost clicked the wrong button. That would have been bad. There's no world where I can block here because it's a single cycler and they win the combat, so we slam down the board, we pass turn. After that, though, if these are still around, we can really easily block because I've got super combat tricky stuff going on just by cycling 1 card. Ooh, Liliana's Mastery, definitely one of the strongest rares in the format. All by itself. It's 5 mana for 2 3/3s, but as they are black-white, those are the zombie-heavy colors here, where it can buff a whole ton of their other stuff. We did draw one of our strongest cards as well. It's only a 2/4 right now, but that's still quite relevant on this board. So they have 2 3/3s. If I double cycle, Horror has 6 toughness total, and I can put a -1/-1 counter on one of those zombies. I could eat everything up here on attacks. I feel I should still be on blocks, though. At this point, I mean, they're at 20, I'm at 16. They got 3 threats here. I think I need to still be on blocks. I'm just going to play this and pass. Soul Stinger. Sure. They pass turn. Okay. So now they have a really annoying blocker because they could just block Horror of the Broken Lands and then put -1/-1 counters on my Ruthless Sniper, and I would not be particularly happy. I'm definitely cycling this Desert of the Glorified, so I'll just do that right now. Looking for some amount of gas. Probably whittle down the lowest toughness stuff. Compelling argument as well. I'm not going to mill myself 5 just for Vile Manifestation when I can get another -1/-1 on this board and draw a card instead. Okay, another Horror I can keep. So yeah, if I send in Horror, they just chump kill Ruthless Sniper. It's not great for me. If they have one card that cycles, that's 6 power, 5 toughness. Can't make something big enough to live through a single card that cycles here. Probably losing one of my Horrors is not the end of the world. Sure, because I kill another one of theirs. Sure. They have to cycle their Horror away. I guess if they have double cycle, that's pretty bad. No, double cycle doesn't even work, because I still have 6 power against 6 toughness. They have to have 3 total cycling cards to not lose their Horror of the Broken Lands as well. Okay, likely far too late for Censor, so just another piece of cycling stuff to use. Oh, start to finish, that sucks. They get a bunch of 1/1s and they kill my Vile Manifestation at the cost of a 1/1 here. No, they don't have the mana for it yet. They have to play another land. Come on. Alright, well, yeah, start to finish was a great draw. Luckily, Ruthless Sniper is pretty good against it. We can clear that 1/1 out at essentially no cost. Again, Soul Stinger kind of a thorn in my side here. I would have had a lot of attacks without this Soul Stinger, but I am still not getting in here. Because I need to keep this Sniper at least until I kill the 1/1, but ideally longer. Alright, 1/1's really easy to kill, so we'll do that first. Not the most into the Scorpion here. So let's ditch that. Okay, we're late enough and I have big enough threats now to let Soul Stinger kill Sniper so my Horror can just keep getting in from that point on. No blocks. They don't even block with the Soul Stinger. Okay, interesting. Putting this at risk of removal, but if they had it, they would have killed Horror. Yeah, we jam. Gravedigger's pretty good here. Whatever they want to pick up, probably a Horror. Yep. It's also a 3/3 on board because Liliana's Mastery still keeps going hard here. I gotta hit something. I don't think I can attack here with a single Splendid Agony. Think I have to wait till a Cycler? But then they're gonna have like another 4/4 up on blocks. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of blocks they could make here that would work poorly for them. There are plenty that work fine, but there'll be even more that work well once they have their own horror out. Okay, so that just trades 1/1 into Vile Manifestation. That's fine. Even if I Agony it, it would then have 4 -1/-1 counters on it, so it would die and put 4 -1/-1s on the Manifestation. Manifestation is only 4 toughness, so we're tremendously unlikely at any point to be able to get Manifestation in without it dying in some way or the other. Goodbye, probably 3/3 token. Whatever we kill here, I'm fine with. Maybe Gravedigger? Like if they have another copy in their deck, then they can do the Gravedigger loops. Okay, they choose the smallest one. They choose the Wayward Servant. That is surprising. Because it does have a really nice ability. I guess they're going for raw power toughness here. Big swing. Okay. Play their own horror. Likely have a Cycler in their hand, but we have one too. That would just be a horror for horror trade. Unless I draw another Cycler. Only 13 cards left in the deck is really late for Drakehaven. Because we start getting concerned about milling out if I keep cycling towards that, but just gonna do, it's still definitely a card. I don't think I attack in here when they clearly have something at instant speed, which could be a Cycler, to just trade horror for horror. I think I just play the Haven and pass. Okay, they cycle the desert just right now. I mean, if you have like 3 cyclers, no, 4 cyclers, you win. Go ahead. Scatter, cool. Island, not cool. But at least our opponent's also just chilling. All it takes is like 1 cycler to get really far ahead now with a sniper and a Drakehaven trigger. Cartouche would be phenomenal. Our second trial would be phenomenal. No, a Cartouche would be phenomenal for us, not our opponent. Oh. That's a brutal draw from our opponent. That's so strong here. Come on, deck. Come on, deck. Yeah, that does work. No pressure on our opponent right now, but it does work. Stabilizes us. I think we get the Drake right now, so that if I draw a threat, I'm casting that as well. Perfect. Okay, I'm actually not casting that right now because it's 7 mana. But it is phenomenal for next turn. All right. Don't Wrath of God me. I might mill out if you do. Well, now I won't. Final reward takes 6, sure. They're already dead on board. I'm just going to pass here. They can't draw removal for Riverwinder. All they could really do is draw full on board wipe like Wrath of God. And they don't have it. Things were sketchy there. Opponent got pretty head there with that cartouche. Things were really even for a long time before that, but our deck pulls ahead with the Drake Haven in the end game, and we are now 4-1 heading into game number 6. All right, here we are for game 6 on the play with the incredible Vile Manifestation to start things off. The only issue with it being like our first play, oh my god, is that I can misclick and cycle it. That's so funny. I'm glad this deck is really strong because that could be like a game-ending punt. Yeah, we still have a chance here because this deck is so strong. Oh, Magic Arena, the perks of playing digital Magic, I swear. All right. Trial's pretty weak against Dread Wanderer, unfortunately. And Steward of Solidarity is also incredibly powerful. So our opponent is going to wombo combo 1, 2, 3 drop S plus tier card 3 turns in a row, or are we going to have a shot here? Get wombo comboed. We would have had a shot if I actually cast the manifestation. Oh, I hate Arena sometimes. Let's... bounce the Mummy. If I bounce the Steward, then I'm just letting them exert it. Surprised they exert right now. It's always better like last opportunity possible, but now I can deal with it without worrying about any random responses. I need to cycle Riverwinder. I'm under too much pressure right now. I need my triple Splendid Agony, but none of them are here. I'm so angry, honestly, that manifestation got cycled. They already would have stopped their attacks entirely last turn because I could have just blocked with a 1/4. And then I'd have the Censor up for the removal for it. I want to concede and then just take a break and get my head in the game for the next rounds. But I'm recording a video, so we'll play it out here. Trials are so bad against Steward of Solidarity, it's ridiculous. I think I have to cycle Scorpion here. I also think I'm holding Censor up. Draw both of my only 2 final rewards, which are for the big green decks instead of the 3 Splendid Agony that are for this archetype. Okay, you got me. Catcher's Monument is just spitting out a warrior every single creature they cast. I'm good to end it there. Technically still have a little bit of a chance, but I pretty much punted it away cycling the Vile Manifestation. That immediately took our win rate from like a potential 70% to like probably like 2% now that there's a monument down 2 and all this still hitting us. All right. Here we are for game number 7. We are 4-2 right now. We've had a couple unfortunate losses, but I genuinely think this is a 7+ win tiered deck, if I could just play it out right. We got one loss to Glorybringer, which is going to delete almost any deck, and one loss due to just clicking the wrong button on the digital Magic the Gathering game, which is quite frustrating. But if there was any deck that can come back from this and get 3 wins in a row, it is definitely this deck. It's another very aggressive black-white deck from our opponent, which has me a bit worried. I'm going to cycle the Scorpion. I don't think it's particularly good against these kind of decks with a bunch of 1/1s and 2/2s and stuff. It's another card that plays much better for the decks with much stronger late game. I think I'm leading with Trial of Ambition against the color pair as well instead of Splendid Agony. Now, I could Splendid Agony the Servant there because it's small enough to kill with Agony, whereas Trial could kill bigger stuff, but against Black-White, they're going to have enough small stuff that I think it's pretty unlikely Trial is going to end up on a board state where it's killing anything bigger than a 2/2, whereas Splendid Agony might be able to split into killing multiple cards pretty well. I'm going to cycle the Desert right now and see if I draw a relevant spell. Vile Manifestation, Counterspell, anything like that. We do not. The only thing I could draw off of Riverwinder that I could cast here would be Ruthless Sniper, and I don't want to cast that right now against just an empty board. So we'll cycle the Riverwinder later to bluff a counterspell. I did draw the Sniper, but again, I wasn't going to want to cast it there into just all the open mana, nothing on board. They can easily just take the turn off to kill it. Now, fine playing Horror here. They have to have a pretty big removal spell to kill that. They can't just use a Splendid Agony of their own. Baleful Amonkhet, sack the Dissenter to keep that as a 4/3 lifelinker. Can win any combat cycling off of this Horror attacking. Could final reward the Baleful Amonkhet. Could also go Sniper, cycle 1 Horror. I can't cycle the Horror in the Desert, put 2 minuses on the board. I think I just attack with this, and then we just final reward the Amonkhet. I think with Ruthless Sniper in hand, though, cycling is a valuable enough ability to not play land per turn. Fanbearer, sure. Compulsory Rest the Horror. I can still gain life off of it, that's fine. Can Sniper... I can't Sniper an Agony and kill anything. We'll just play another Horror then. Another Doomed Dissenter. So they're just going to tap Horror when we move to combat. Compelling Argument, that is 1 to cycle, 1 to give -1/-1. If I cycle my second Horror of the Broken Lands, I can kill the Fanbearer this turn. I think that's worth it. Because, I mean, I draw a card off of each cycle, so I will be up in cards. It's just one of those cards is no longer going to be a big threat. I guess I should just cycle Compelling Argument first, because I could draw into another 1-mana cycler. Another Trial of Ambition, not the worst. If we find our cartouche, that's going to go so hard. But it's already going to kill a 2/2. Ooh, nice. If near Deadlands. I mean, it's probably going to kill a 2/2. I guess they could have removal that can kill Sniper, but not Horror. They have a removal spell like Splendid Agony, then yeah, they just kill Sniper. Okay, it's another Compulsory Rest. So Sniper remains, we can kill Doom Dissenter, and then Trial of 2/2. Pop that. I don't remember what we took over the second sniper, but oh my god, the first one has done so much work that it better have been something really good. I think it was. As far as I remember, the pack was super strong. So now that we have an if near Deadlands, if I draw another desert, we're in an interesting position where playing the land means putting two -1/-1 counters on the board, but cycling it means putting one and drawing a card. Never mind, they final reward the sniper. Well, yeah, so now it's between draw a card or kill a 2/2 if I draw a desert. It's probably better to kill a 2/2 now. Oh, I have both my Vile Manifestations left in the deck, by the way. Those would be insane draws. Speak of the devil. That's an 8/4. Soul Stinger. God, not again. That card plays really well against our manifestation. Because it's just block and trade, and it's like, alright, well, shoot. And yeah, even if I use Deadlands or Agony, it still blocks and trades, because then it's got 4 counters on it. So I gotta pass here. I mean, we obviously play Drakehaven, but then we pass. That's not good. Okay, none of those cards matter that much. I'm very happy with this. I will gladly trade blows here. Cycling main phase to see if we draw anything relevant. I can cycle main phase and still have Agony up here, yeah. Drakehaven going absolutely ham right now. They're done. They literally scoop on the spot. Okay. I will take it. That is 5-2 now as we head into game number 8. Here we are for game number 8 on the draw again. I think one of our 2 losses was on the draw against a really aggressive curve out from our opponent. Now it obviously really didn't help that I cycled away the strongest card in our deck, but it was a big element of how much pressure they got on us early. Sounds pretty good. I am going to keep it here. Hoping to play against some big green nonsense. That would be our best matchup for the hand with Censor and Scorpion in it. Worst matchup, probably Boros. We've got none of our Agonies again. Ooh, it's a green deck. Hello. I'm gonna go Swamp Burst. Because if whatever they play makes it look like the game's gonna go really fast, then I should cycle a 5-drop here and try to find earlier interaction. If they don't play anything, I don't think I cycle the Horror. They cycle a Sandworm, sure. Sidewinder Naga. Censor that. Scorpion is a perfectly reasonable play against greens. Let's slam that down. Kind of build our own gigantic Shimmer Scale Drake by just playing a Horror and cartouching it, so I think I'm cycling Drake over the Horrors. Well, I guess I'm discarding the Drake straight up instead. To the Miasmic Mummy. I do hit for 3 a turn with Wasteland Scorpion, and I can block anything with it by playing Cartouche here instead of playing nothing. Sure. Perfect. We found land 5 for next turn. I'll trade blows here. Hit for 3, take probably 2 on the crackback. Ronus's Monument. Alright, every time they cast a creature, someone gets +2/+2. But they don't have a creature to cast, so it is taking 3 on the crackback. Oh, this looks great. They're playing off the top, and we have double Horror of the Broken Lands here to outrace them. Actually play this desert out, because I have the Ifnir Deadlands on board towards killing the Miasmic Mummy. Ooh, Greater Sandworm off the top deck. This race is definitely worse for us now. It is still a winning race, because we have the Death Touch here. Yeah. But now I have to hold back for a little bit first. Oh my god, come on. I don't actually even know what this does. Whenever it deals combat damage, creature put a -1/-1 counter on it and drain the opponent for a life. Yeah, I mean, just repeated creatures off the top is really rough with the Monument for that Mummy. I'm 1 mana off from the Riverwinder. I can double cycle, and these are both 6 toughness. It's still not enough to beat the Sandworm, but I can eat the Sandworm with either one of these, and then just play a second Scorpion if they don't block. Yeah, if they don't block, I get to play a Scorpion and a Splendid Agony. I think we're going here. We're jamming. I suppose if they didn't block, there was a chance I just kill them. Yeah, I actually hit for 16 if they don't block. I don't think it's possible for them to make a good block here. However they block is going to go poorly for them. Whether they don't block at all, they block with just one thing, they block with 2 things. Whatever combination of stuff happens here, it's going to be in our favor, I'm pretty confident. So I can double cycle, or I can Splendid Agony and cycle 1, and either way I kill this Sandworm. I think Splendid Agony and cycle just the Wasteland Scorpion then, so I still have the Riverwinder. Feels good. And by putting a -1 on the Obelisk Spider, it doesn't get to deal combat damage and ever trigger its ability. Nope, no, cycle the Scorpion to play Riverwinder. Top deck is the land from our opponent, and we just go crazy from there. Chump the horror. They're down to 11. Here's Riverwinder. We're so ahead right now. We have a huge board. We have triple removal spell on board. Trial of Ambition in hand. Blocks. There's the GG. All right, that is 6-2. We have recovered from the misclick punt all the way to the final boss here. This will be the last game of Magic, win or lose, the deciding factor with this deck. I really, really think it's strong enough to get a 7-win run the majority of the time. But we've had some misfortune here between running into Glorybringer and misclicking hard in our second loss, so we're going to have to fight for it as we head into that final battle. All right, here we are for the final boss, and I guess there's not that many people playing Amonkhet Remastered right now, at least not in the Mythic ranks, because we have ran right up into the same opponent again. I don't know if this was the opponent from last round. I think it was the opponent from last round. I definitely recognize the name. We played against them today. I think it's the exact same opponent. So it's the grudge match here. Hopefully they don't get revenge on us on this one. But it's possible. We'll see what happens. Oh, please no. So we're getting Hapatrid, which is very bad. From what we've seen of the rest of their deck, we have a really good matchup, but Hapatra is stronger than every other card we've seen in their entire deck. Narishi deals combat down, shoot player, puts -1/-1 on somebody. I will censor Ronus's Monument. That was actually a pretty big issue for us last game. And then we will drop a Wastelands. Oh, thank goodness. All right, we have a solid chance now because we've dealt with Hapatra. Pretty slow hand here. We're just going to be dropping a bunch of 4/4s, but we've slowed them down as well. They don't have their mana rock thing, and just a bunch of 4/4 idiots played pretty well last time. Yeah, it's a little rough. I don't have double black here. I'd like to play a Scorpion and also cycle one of my horrors to help cast the other ones, but I can't do that with only one black source, so I'm just going to play to the board and slow down that Doom Dissenter. Make sure we don't take any extra damage here. Cartouche of Knowledge. I don't remember what removal they had. I remember Final Reward. I don't think they had Splendid Agony. I mean, if they have it here, it's going to be bad. It's going to just counter the Cartouche. But if they don't have it, this Cartouche is going to be insane. Gross. I mean, that's one of the flaws of playing against the same opponent is that if you didn't see a specific card from them, you could be like, oh, they're definitely not going to have that here, right? And then it's like, oh, they do. Just never saw it game one. Maybe we did, and it just wasn't very relevant. That's entirely possible. When I'm playing best of one draft, I'm never under the mindset of trying to memorize what's in my opponent's deck for future games, but that's a huge part of playing best of three, so running up against the same opponent twice in best of one can be pretty awkward like this, where it's like, okay, well, I guess I should have paid a lot more attention to what they had in their deck, because there's a lot of information we could have gained here that they probably remember about our deck, and I don't remember about theirs. Ooh. Jesus Christ, what a hand. Okay. Clear out a 2/2 with this. I think I have to get rid of Final Reward. I guess if I discard Trial, because I've already missed out on my one Cartouche, I can just Final Reward the Sidewinder Naga, and then they don't get to do anything. Unless they sack Hashep Oasis. We'll just clutter up the board with our 4/4s. Right off the top, there's the final reward. But here's Horror. They don't get to do anything with this out. Unless they top deck twice in a row. I don't have double black, so I'm dead on board. You gotta be kidding me, man. Ah, what a tilting draft. What a tilting draft. Well, I think our one line that game that we could have played safer and maybe locked in the win was to just really preserve that cartouche of knowledge. The fact that I top decked a second Trial of Ambition made that cartouche of knowledge play really, really rough on us. Like the fact that I couldn't recast the one Trial of Ambition, like, yeah, that's a bit of a bummer, but I drew a second one where I would have gotten a double replay if we just played that really, really conservatively. But I wanted to just slow down the early aggro at the time. Keep playing threats. And they just happened to have a removal spell that I don't remember seeing at all last game. So I thought that from what I saw first game, there was nothing they could have had at that point, but they had the Splendid Agony to ruin that. But yeah, that's the one part that was in our power there to change that. I'm incredibly happy with how I drafted today. I think that was the one major misplay of the day, was getting maybe too aggressive with that cartouche. Outside of that, I also played really well. I don't really count misclicks as misplays. It's just like, great, I'm playing Digital Magic, so that happens. If I were like in a tournament setting, best of three paper Magic kind of thing, like just say out loud what I'm doing, like I will cast Vile Manifestation. You can't misclick IRL. So that just happens sometimes with Monkey Brains. Little misclick loss there. Yeah, I think this deck gets a 7-win run 9 out of 10 times, but this was not the time for us. A little bit of user error. We probably could have won that last game and potentially could have won the misclick game, but definitely could have won our first loss against the Glorybringer. Yeah, brutal. It's very, very rare to get like a 6-3 run. That's objectively a great win rate, especially in the Mythic queues. It's so rare to get like a 6-3 run and feel like that run sucked. But honestly, with how extremely powerful and consistent this deck is, I think a 6-3 run is almost as low as this deck can do. Like, I feel pretty defeated right now. This deck is absurdly powerful with two manifestations and a Drake Haven. Great cheap removal with two ambitions and triple agonies. The late removal for big green creatures with a double final reward. It just did not work out for us today. Literally everything that could go wrong went wrong. Where we got bombed out, and we misclicked, and we punted. And that was the 3 wins. Those were the three different ways things can go wrong, and did go wrong to keep this out of the 7-win trophy run. But it is what it is. Still drafted an incredible deck, and that is the part that I enjoy the most, that I think I excel at the most, and I think we did a great job there of drafting an absurdly powerful deck. Just could have gone a little better in the gameplay. 6-3 it will be for today's draft. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed watching and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.